is 1834, Lowell, Massachusetts. To the outside world, this city was a miracle, a utopian experiment where industry and morality could coexist. It was the Silicon Valley of the 19th century. But inside these red brick walls, a different story was being woven. A story of control, exhaustion, and eventually, rebellion. They were not hardened men or political radicals. They were the Lowell Girls, farmers' daughters, teenagers, and they were about to do something the powerful men of America thought impossible. They were about to shut the machines down. To understand why they rebelled, we first have to understand why they came. Most of these women came from struggling farms across New England. Life at home was hard, and opportunities were non-existent. Then came the recruiters. They promised cash wages, real money. They promised culture, libraries, and independence. For a young woman in the 1830s, Lowell wasn't just a factory, it was an escape. The corporations built boarding houses. They enforced strict curfews and mandatory church attendance. This was corporate paternalism. The owners acted like fathers, claiming they were protecting the virtue of these girls. But make no mistake, this wasn't charity. It was a calculated business model. They needed cheap, obedient labor that wouldn't cause trouble. The reality of the mill was the assault on the senses. Imagine the noise. Hundreds of power looms crashing back and forth, creating a deafening roar that made speech impossible. They worked an average of 13 hours a day, 6 days a week, from the ringing of the morning bell to the evening darkness. The windows were often nailed shut to keep the humidity high so the threads wouldn't break. The air was filled with cotton dust, coating their lungs. One worker wrote, "I am going to turn into a machine myself." The promise of freedom was slowly being replaced by the rhythm of the gear and the tyranny of the clock. In February 1834, the economy dipped. The board of directors, wealthy men sitting in comfortable offices in Boston, decided to cut the workers' wages by 15%. They assumed the women would just accept it. After all, women didn't strike. It was unladylike. It was unheard of. They were wrong. As the news spread, the mills buzzed not with work, but with whispers of rebellion. One of the leaders climbed onto a pump and shouted a line that would echo through history. "We are the daughters of freemen. We are not slaves." They called it a turnout. They walked out, hundreds of them. They marched to the town common, singing and listening to speeches. A bank withdrew its support for the mills in panic. The obedient daughters had become a political force. In the short term, the 1834 strike failed. The corporations had too much power. Many leaders were fired. Others were forced back to work by hunger. But they didn't stop. They formed the Factory Girls Association. They published their own magazines. They campaigned for the 10-hour workday. The Lowell Girls shattered the myth that female labor was passive. They proved that dignity isn't given by a boss. It is demanded by the worker. Today, every time a worker stands up for their rights, they are walking in the footsteps of those teenagers in bonnets who looked at the most powerful industry in America and said, "Enough.